Hey there folks, John here with ThruMyLens, and today I'm coming to you with another photography-related video. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience at Bild Expo 2025. Now I just got back, today's Sunday, the expo was actually Tuesday through Wednesday, spent a couple extra days in New York, and but now I'm back home and kind of recording my thoughts after the event. Please do check out my full written photo report on Bild that's on ThruMyLens. I'll stick a link to the written photo review in the description box, so please do check that out because I'll probably go into a lot more detail in that report, and I do plan on publishing a few other Bild-related articles, like with a couple of the manufacturers that I did visit who did talk to me, Fujifilm being one of them. So why did I go to Bild 2025? Well, obviously I'm a photographer, I'm a YouTuber, so the expo is kind of geared toward photographers, videographers, and content creators. So, on its face, I fit, squarely in the demographic that apparently they were targeting from an interest point of view. And I was really hoping to do two things. I wanted to get hands-on with some camera equipment and gear that I don't have the opportunity to do so here where I live in the Dayton, Ohio area. We've got one remaining camera store that's kind of hanging on that is certainly nice store, but they, have fairly limited stock in terms of what they carry. And Best Buy, that's pretty much all I have. So I don't have anywhere locally where I can see Leica, for example. Even though I've been to a couple Leica stores around the world. But one of the main reasons for going was to get hands-on with some of the manufacturers. A secondary reason, hey, I'm a YouTuber. I've got a channel. I've got a website. And I do product reviews in the photography space, and I don't have a lot of contacts in the industry. I used to do a lot more work in the luxury wristwatch industry, and I, still have lots of contacts there. But, and I am a member of Canon Professional Services, have been for 20 years, so Canon will send me anything that I want. But outside of Canon, I don't really have anybody in a marketing department that I can call up and say, hey, I want to do a hands-on review of this camera body or this lens, or, hey, put me on your NDA list for when something new comes out. So I was hoping to make those kind of contacts. So when Bild came around Tuesday morning, I decided to fly from Dayton to New York. It's only a couple of hours, so I got up early, got an early flight, and flew to LaGuardia. Got off the flight, and I was, by the time I took my Uber downtown, checked into the hotel. I do recommend that you go with the hotel that is recommended by Bild. They had a couple that they had negotiated deals with, and the one I picked, the 4 Points by Sheraton, Midtown Manhattan, it was only about 3 blocks from the Javits Center where Bild is held. So that was convenient, made it nice and walkable. But got over there. The show opened about 10. I didn't make it over to the Javits Center until about 10:30 by the time my flight arrived and I Ubered in. I had hoped that, most of the lines to get in would have been dissipated by then, and I'd kind of be able to breeze in, go to wherever you had to do a badge pickup, and grab my badge. This was my Bild badge here, and anybody who had to attend, registration was free. They didn't charge anything to register for the event to attend, but you did have to do your badge pickup. When I was walking up to the Javits Center, I could see a line stretching around the building, as I approached. And I'd say that line, by the time I got in it, was 2 blocks long. I did not fathom that there were going to be that many people attending, and it really wasn't moving by the time I got there. So I think they were a little late getting things open. But about 5 or 10 minutes after I arrived, the line started surging forward. It would go in surges, and it only took about 10 maybe 15 minutes to get in. Once you got in, you quickly went to the area where, they had a lineup of desks. I would say maybe 15 or 20 people or different stations to do badge handouts. So it did go pretty quickly, but I was just really surprised at the line. And they gave you a cloth bag, B&H bag, and gave you some candy and a B&H kind of program, which was mainly advertisements. If I didn't mention it previously, Bild is put on by B&H Photo, which anybody in the photography game or has bought anything related to photography has probably heard of B&H. They're out of New York. And this was the second Bild Expo that they've ever done. The inaugural one was in 2023. That was kind of in conjunction with their 50th anniversary. I don't know at this point if they have plans to do one or at what cadence. Are they going to do it every other year? Are they going to do another one? I don't know. But if attendance is any metric for success, I can't imagine that they would not do another one, because the attendance for this event was overwhelming. Particularly on Tuesday, the first day of the event, it was just mobbed. There were just people everywhere. It was hard to walk through the event. I wanted to go to, obviously, the Canon table, for example, but pretty much any time I went over there on Tuesday, there was just, a line of people 3 and 4 deep anywhere around their area. Canon probably had the largest, most impressive exhibition booth, if you will, at the expo. Didn't really get a chance to talk to too many people from Canon. I did get a guy to go ask an engineer about any kind of a firmware update for the Canon R5 Mark II, and supposedly July is when we may see something for that. So that was, kind of consistent with, what we're hearing from the rumor sites saying this month. But I really didn't get to go hands-on with anything at the Canon booth, and there was just way too many people. I made my way to the Leica booth and got to talk to some Leica folks. Got to play with an M11, a Q3, and I think Leica is such a cool company, and their cameras are really interesting. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to use an M11. I'm glad I did get hands-on with that, because I am not opposed to a camera that manually focuses, but an M11, is weird how it focuses, how it operates, and how you have to get your picture in focus. That's just not something that I think I would really want. In a Q3, really interesting camera. I wouldn't be opposed to one, but when I look at the price and when I look what it does that my Fuji X106 does, I don't think the use case isn't all that different. I think I'm just as well, going to stay with my Fuji X106 and save $5,000 or $6,000. Did get to talk to them. Tried to talk to the ProGrade Digital folks. Tried to talk to OM Systems. Tried to talk to Panasonic, and it was just really difficult to get anybody to talk to me. And when I explained, hey, John, ThruMyLens, got a YouTube channel, you got a website, is your marketing people here? No, none of our marketing people are here. If they were at the show, they were always somewhere else. But they were always more than willing to take my card and to pass it along. Right. Yeah. So it was abundantly clear that at this event, and obviously there's going to be a lot of people like me, influencers or people with YouTube channels looking to make connections with marketing people and trying to make arrangements to get equipment sent to them. And I think all of the table reps were well trained to say, not give out any information on marketing people and to just basically tell people where to pound sand. It's just, it was not good for that. I ended up walking around the show a little bit, but I think I had planned, I had a nice dinner planned at the Centurion in New York, at 1 Vanderbilt. And I was going to leave about 4 o'clock anyway to go get cleaned up for dinner. I think I ended up leaving about 2 because the mobs of people, you just couldn't get anywhere. There were a lot of seminars, a lot of guest speakers. Quite honestly, a lot of them I hadn't heard from. I don't know if they were more well-known within like the New York photography community or if they were, just more well-known broadly. That's something, again, I talk about in my written photo review. I accidentally stumbled into a couple and, I hadn't heard of the people, but were interesting to say the least to hear from. And but I did on Wednesday, when I went back to the show on Wednesday, I went to the PetaPixel Podcast live event. That was really fun. I listened to the PetaPixel Podcast. I love listening to, Chris Nichols, Jordan Peterson, and Jaron. I forget his last name, but those 3 guys on the podcast, really enjoy it. I usually watch the reviews that they do as well. And, that was great. I actually made it onto the podcast during the Q&A session. I asked a question, and they did entertain that question. I'll put I'll link to the podcast on their YouTube channel, and I'll put a time stamp mark where you can listen to my question and the answer. It was kind of amusing. I also went to see Jared Polin. He did a talk at the first Bild Expo in 2023, and he came back to kind of to close out Bild 2025 with a session. And Frodo's Photo, he's kind of a guy I like to not like. I do enjoy his reviews. I think he's a good photographer, and I think he's great at gear reviews, and I do value his opinion. But man, when the guy gets on social media or on his podcast and he starts talking about politics, he is a complete anti-Trump, individual, and he's just it can be nuts sometimes. And I did some sightseeing on Tuesday after the show, or actually that was Wednesday morning. I went to Trump Tower and I actually bought a "Make America Great Again" hat. And when I spotted him before his seminar, his talk, he had the guy that assists him on the show, Stephen Eckert. I like Stephen probably more than I do Jared Polin, and I shook hands with Stephen Eckert, and I had the hat in my jacket, and I kind of pulled it out, and Stephen was like, "Oh, please don't show Jared that; he'll go nuts." So I actually sat in the front row for that one, and I was going to wear the hat just to mess with the fro, but I didn't. And he gave a good seminar. I did enjoy his seminar. He did a much better job than I thought he would, and he is a very talented photographer. Did get to meet a few other influencers and YouTubers. Geraldine Dunn, I spotted him. I also spotted Hugh Brownstone and his wife from, I always get the name of his YouTube channel wrong. I think it's 3 Blind Men and an Elephant, or something like that. I'll put the name up on the screen. But he's got such a soothing voice. I almost enjoy just listening to his YouTube videos as much as I enjoy the content. But I do enjoy the videos that he produces. So would I go back to Bild if they have another one? And the answer is maybe. One of the reasons why I went to Bild 2025 was it had been probably a decade since I'd been to New York City, and I was excited to see a few things. I had not made it, obviously, to the new World Trade Center buildings. Wanted to see that. There's a few things I wanted to be able to see and do that I'd done in the past. Wanted to go to the Centurion restaurant at One Vanderbilt. On the plus side, the New York side of the trip was fantastic. I really did enjoy it. Bild wasn't as enjoyable as I had hoped. Again, Wednesday was definitely better than Tuesday. The crowds had subsided considerably, maybe 30-40%, to where it was, actually enjoyable. But Tuesday was rough. Tuesday was rough. So depending on, if they have another one, depending on, the guest speakers that were there, would I go again? Maybe. Maybe. They've got to do something to make it better in the exhibition areas. I don't know if you can make appointments to go, or maybe they limit the number of people that are in there at once. But that was pretty rough. But I would consider going again. I wouldn't jump at the chance, but I would definitely consider going again. The Javits Center facility is wonderful, so that part of it was great. Lunch at the Javits Center was not great because the folks at B&H Photo kind of controlled that, and they are, if you don't know, B&H is kind of owned and run by a community of Hasidic Jews, and for lunch you could have anything that you could possibly want as long as it was kosher. So that did kind of limit the choices quite a bit. I ended up eating a very dry pastrami sandwich, a drink, and some very dry chocolate chip cookies, of which I paid $35, which I did not repeat on Wednesday. I went off-site. So definitely plan on eating outside of the Javits if you do go to a future Bild conference. And if at all possible, if you do go to one, I would strongly recommend coming in the day before and going over to B&H and picking up your badge before Bild. That would have been a lot better. Would love it if they, did away with these things. I mean, do we really need something like this in 2025? Can't you just have your badge on your phone or print it yourself? Something like that, and not have to go through the badge check-in nightmare. That seems like there might be some better solutions there than kind of the way they ran it. But the show was run, reasonably well. For as many people that were there, you really couldn't ask for a better, more efficient sort of situation. And after the show, they did have kind of an after party that was on the roof of the Javits Center, which was very nice. The view from out there was fantastic. So, they really did it right. And there was lots of stuff to do. You could have done portfolio reviews. I didn't. You could have gone in the evenings on some boat tours of the city or bus tours of the city. I didn't sign up for those. I kind of wanted to go on one of the boat tours, but there just wasn't time. So I might do that if I went back. And there were photo walks, and I had wanted to go on one of the photo walks, but I kind of planned one of my own that sort of conflicted. So, that didn't work out either. So there's certainly a lot to do and enjoy, at Bild if you do consider going yourself. Well, there you have it. There's my thoughts on the Bild Expo, Bild 2025. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next one.
I hope you've enjoyed this production from the ThruMyLens YouTube channel. If you did, please click on the like button and do share the video on social media. If you'd like to see more content like it, please do subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and do check out ThruMyLens at www.ThruMyLens.org.